Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to open up one of these Panini Prism packs during this video. Real talk, dude. Listen, we're looking to make history. We're looking to go beyond measures. We're looking to pull an ultra rare manga card that ain't nobody else ever pulled, to stump it out today and hit it big on eBay. Real talk, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, we're looking to pull an ultra rare numbered Prism card that's more rare compared to other numbered cards that's been pulled and stuff like that every day and go viral on YouTube. Real talk though, ladies and gentlemen. And without further ado, let's hit it big, boo.
This is the largest coincidence in history. See if your history teacher can explain this. Abraham Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846. John F. Kennedy was elected to Congress in 1946. Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860. John F. Kennedy was elected president in 1960. Both were particularly concerned with civil rights. Both wives lost a child while living in the White House. Both presidents were shot on a Friday. Both presidents were shot in the head. Now, it gets really weird. Lincoln's secretary was named Kennedy. Kennedy's secretary was named Lincoln. Both were assassinated by Southerners. Both were succeeded by Southerners named Johnson. Andrew Johnson, who succeeded Lincoln, was born in 1808. Lyndon Johnson, who succeeded Kennedy, was born in 1908. John Wilkes Booth, who assassinated Lincoln, was born in 1839. Lee Harvey Oswald, who assassinated Kennedy, was born in 1939. Both assassins were known by their three names. Both names are composed of 15 letters. Now hang on to your seat. Lincoln was shot at the theater named Ford. Kennedy was shot in a car called Lincoln, made by Ford. Booth and Oswald were assassinated before their trials. And here's the kicker. A week before Lincoln was shot, he was in Monroe, Maryland. A week before Kennedy was shot, he was with Marilyn Monroe. Lincoln was shot in a theater, and the assassin ran to a warehouse. Kennedy was shot from a warehouse, and the assassin ran to a theater.
And here we go.
Here we go indeed. Thought you had me, didn't you?
Close.
What's up, everybody? Yeah, very close. Very close. Welcome into the Lone Gunman Podcast. This is episode number 350 freaking 9.
Wow.
That's a lot, Joe.
It's a lot.
And we don't even number the Wednesday episodes.
We would be well over 400 by then.
Right.
If not closer to 5. I don't even know at this point, man.
Right? My goodness. But today we're going to be talking about Gordon Arnold, the Invisible Man, the man who wasn't there, or a variety of other nicknames Gordon Arnold has earned over his illustrious lifetime, shall we say. But before we do, I have a bit of news, Joe.
Oh, please do tell.
Now, Joe doesn't even know this, folks. But for those out there who, well, there's some people that know, but I was adopted, right?
I do know this.
A long time ago.
Yes.
A long time ago. In the 70s, shall we say, at some point. And I never really knew like what ethnicity I am. I've always been curious, to know like what am I? Right? I mean, there's some things I know I'm not, but I'm definitely an amalgamation of a Caucasian of some sort. But I've always been curious. So I finally did the DNA thing on Ancestry, right? And turns out, Joe, that I'm roughly 25% English or British, if you will.
Oh, okay, mate.
Yeah. 25% German.
Okay.
25% French. Francais, croissant. 15% Scottish. Scottish, Joe.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And 10% Irish, Joe.
Sally is jumping up and down in Ireland right now.
Right?
And she's from England. And I think she lived in Scotland, so
Her haggis is tingling over there.
her kitties are jumping.
Yeah, so I was excited, to figure this out, right? And then I noticed that on Ancestry, when you upload your DNA, it matches your DNA to other people that have uploaded their DNA into Ancestry.
Oh, interesting.
Much like how they caught the Golden Gate Killer.
Yeah. And it's called like genetic genealogy, and that's how they also caught the Idaho killer that killed the 4 girls in their beds recently, which has been a true crime. Yeah. Yeah. So you'd be screwed if you ever did that.
Well, I haven't done anything that bad, so I'm not really worried. But interestingly enough, I matched with 2 ladies as they're my aunts. Right? I've never known anything about my birth family ever.
So they could tell the difference between, say, your mom and your aunt?
Yeah, because of the percentage of DNA that you share.
Oh, right.
So if I would have matched with a birth mother, it would have been 50%.
Right.
And these 2 ladies, I think one was 27% and one was 25%. And it tells you, they're either aunts or half sisters. Right. But after I looked them up on Facebook, I realized very quickly that they were more than likely aunts instead of half sisters, given their age. But, and then apparently, there's a lot of very nerdy genealogy people on Ancestry who are more than willing to help with things. So, when you do that, you kind of pop up on their radar. They're saying, hey, you have a new cousin and bumfuck, whatever. Right. So I had some people reach out to me from this certain side of the family. And we kind of narrowed it down, Joe, given that these 2 ladies were my aunts. These 2 ladies had another sister and also 3 brothers. So one of those other 4 had to be one of my birth parents, right?
Right.
So through talking I reached out to some other members of the family, and through process of elimination, I figured out who my birth father is.
What?
Yeah. And that I have 2 brothers. Yeah. It's crazy.
That's a trip, man.
What's more of a trip is realizing that all of these people live in the next town over, like 20 miles away.
Stop.
Yeah. So that's where I was born. And I was adopted into the family in this the next town over, basically.
Right.
Yeah. So this past Sunday, I've been talking to my brother, and I was like, you know what, dude? Why waste time? Let's fucking meet up, hang out. So cool story is I got to meet my brother this past Sunday.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
He looks chill as hell.
He is chill as hell. Like, I don't know, vibe wise, he's just like me. Like, we both have a lot in common. We've been at the same concerts at the same time and never knew it. Yeah, so it was very wild.
What concerts?
Well, our first concert, he was telling me, hey, man, my first concert was, Jane's Addiction. I was like, yeah, mine was back in 91 at Lollapalooza. He was like, yeah, that's where I saw Jane's Addiction. And then we're both like Lake Fairfax Park, and we're like, yeah, we were there together. And then we were also at the Pink Floyd show in 94 at RFK Stadium. And the Grateful Dead show before that.
What?
Yeah. So it's
Bro,
wild.
The universe works in some mysterious, crazy ways.
Crazy ways.
But that is an awesome story, man. And good for you. That is fucking awesome, man.
Yeah. So that was some epically good news that I got. The past been trying to track this stuff, this stuff down. It takes a while to kind of figure everything out and get in touch with people and wait for it to message you back or never message you back at all. But I was lucky to meet my brother, and it was very cool.
That's cool. Does he know your other brother? Obviously, does he know him?
Yeah. He grew up with him, so yeah, he knows him. I have not met him yet.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Now he lives in the same town too, so it's just a matter of time, I guess, if he ever wants to. Like I told him, I said, look, I'm not trying to interrupt anybody's life or whatever, and all that. But
of course, yeah.
And if you want to meet, cool. If you don't, cool. I mainly just wanted the peace of mind of knowing finally where I come from.
For sure.
Because there's always been like a little part of me that's like always wondered, right?
Of course.
So
of course.
That was hella cool. Hella cool.
That is an awesome story to start the show.
I just had to share that real quick. And Brandon actually knew because I told him. I talked to him right before I was getting ready to go meet him, actually.
Yes.
So he knew.
So you could blame Rob's brother for no book review this week.
Yes. But we had a good time. And hopefully the beginning of many. Yeah, Trey, bad news is he's a low nutter.
Well, we'll change that.
No, his tinfoil hat is nice as shiny as mine.
Really? Okay. What does he have like a favorite conspiracy?
Well, I'm sure he does. We didn't get too into that.
Okay.
Anything, but he's definitely not like a lone nerd dick type. Trust me.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like one.
No. He's very cool, very laid back. And like I said, I only had like an hour or two to hang out with him. But yeah, man, it was cool.
That is awesome.
Cool. Very wild to look into your brother's eyes for the first time,
Right. At
this age, I'm like, man, this is wild. And we were both like, and the more we found out about each other, it was just like, man, this is crazy. This is crazy. Like, I can't even tell you all the stuff on here. It's personal shit, but it's crazy.
Yeah, it's part of the simulation, bro.
Yeah. So I just wanted to share some good news before we get into this crazy episode here. And just let you guys know. I mean, I look at you. Oh, and by the way, when you get new family and everything, and someone who's been very helpful to me is my new cousin Emily, and she's also a YouTuber. So the link is in the description for her channel. So after the show, if you guys could show her some love and all that, that'd be awesome. She does like unboxing, thrift hauls, book reviews, just all kinds of stuff.
Oh, does she want to join us as possibly our first guest in a book review?
Hey, I could always broach the subject. But yeah, she's into horror, anime, books, all kinds of stuff. And she has a very cool channel, so make sure to check. She actually has more subscribers than we do, Joe.
Oh, well, I hope she gets us a shout out too.
Right? Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted I put their description down there if you want to check it out, show her some love, and tell her we sent you. That'd be awesome.
I'm definitely going to check that out for sure.
Yeah, I'm very, very stoked.
Yeah,
about it. So that's good news.
Yeah, man. That makes me really happy, bud. I love it. I love that's. It's just, I just can't like begin to fathom how much of like a like mind fucked that would be.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it all happens so fast, and I'm like, oh shit. But
Right.
of course, the hunt is never over. Still trying to figure out the birth mother type of thing, and that side of the family is a total mystery so far. But I think I'll get there eventually. But it's going to be a slow burn.
Yeah.
With that being said, Joe, go ahead and welcome some of our friends in, if you will, please, sir.
Sure, I'm going to do it really, really quickly, just so we can get on with it. Moose Heaven, what's up, sir? I saw Tiny was in here first, but it cuts off messages like way before, I think like 10 minutes before, like at 6:50. Sally, evening all. I'm just back from the pub. I got me a spice bag from the local Chinese takeaway and a few beers. I'm ready. Hell yeah. We like to hear that.
That's better than a spicy bag in your mouth, Joe.
Yes, and see ya. Tiny says hi, and Trey, what up? We already said hi to Trey. Paul Cummings, good evening, sir.
That's pronounced Cowbella, Joe.
I didn't want to butcher it, so
in case you didn't know Italian.
Well, as irony would have it, I'm going to Italy in about 3 days.
And you're Italian.
And I'm Italian, so I did not want
don't know how to say how.
Embarrass myself. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm terrible. And fun fact about me, I actually had a speech impediment as a kid. So who knew that I would be co-hosting a podcast?
Look at you now.
Yeah.
You cunning linguist, you.
Yeah. Cutting linguist. And therapy brought us to this. That's a Sopranos quote. James, actually here. What's up, sir?
Big J.
Missing 411. Ding dong. Ruth Payne is dead. And yes, that is the other big news of the week. We did cover it on Wednesday's show. A lot of people have mixed feelings about Ruth Payne. I don't want to get into it too much. I don't think she was like some huge devilish character. I think she had some good intentions. I think she was definitely involved in the indicting of Lee's character after, and possibly in some things before. I'm not going to get into it, but either way, we hope that she rests in peace. She had a long life, and she was sharp to the end of it.
Yeah, and one thing we did say on Wednesday night too is it'd be real cool if she kind of left behind a little something like a manuscript or some a truth paper or something that maybe she let it all out, and said, well, after I die, make sure this gets out there type of thing. Who knows? But that's wishful thinking.
It is very wishful thinking.
It'd be cool.
And of course, if she did, you can never you never know if someone's going to break it and take it before it gets out, as we see with diaries and documents. And
yeah, they go missing.
Yeah.
Good thing James Jesus Angleton is not still alive, or else he probably already have it.
Well, the modern day Angleton probably would have been on that, right?
Who's that guy?
That's a good question. Sir Shot-a-Lot, what's up? James Smith, Paula Jane, and Kay. Let's see, Double B, we already said and thanked him.
Oh, by the way, Double B, Brandon sent me some hot sauce in the mail.
Ooh.
Let me get that up there for everybody to see. Gator hammock. Lethal gator.
Nice.
And I like it. I like the white wrapper in the bottle. Normally hot sauces try to, snaggle you in with like an orange or a red label just to show you how fire it is, Joe.
Right.
This one is cool, calm, and collected, much like the T-shirt I decided to wear tonight. White gives you a false sense of security, thinking it might be something not so bad. But I can't wait to throw this on some chicken and tear it the F up.
Yeah.
And this comes from Brandon. Again, thanks, buddy, for sending me this. The list of peppers in this son of a bitch. I can't wait. I'm going to be on fire, Joe.
Yeah. And he actually sent me the same thing. So this is like his local hot sauce. I actually haven't checked my packages today.
Well, I don't know if it's local hot sauce because it's from Faloa, Florida.
Okay.
And he lives in wherever
Ohio.
he lives, Midwest.
Ohio.
But it might be his favorite.
Yes, his favorite. And that's not to say we are endorsing that over Silk City. We are just thanking the Double B for his
hot sauce connoisseurs here.
Yes, exactly.
Silk City will always be number one in our hearts.
Of course.
But we're also always excited to try a new blend. And this one has red Scotch bonnet peppers in it, which I'm just a little scared of, Joe. Jalapenos, habaneros, pepper mash, cayenne, crushed red pepper, black pepper, onion. It sounds delicious, but it does sound lethal. But I'm up for the challenge. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brandon, for the hot sauce, brother. It will be put to use, sir.
Yes, and thank you for mine. And when you get to our level of hot sauce enthusiasm, you mix different kinds for different, taste profiles.
Yeah,
you'll be like mix this with like King's Karma and or with something else
meat, on your tacos.
So
chicken.
Mr. Jack Taylor is here as well. I'll let you know, Brandon. I have to check. I'm sure I probably got it today.
JT.
And I think I don't want to miss anyone, especially PSV Odyssey, although I haven't seen him yet.
I just see him. He is here.
PSV?
Paul,
okay.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Hans is here.
Oh.
I did see Peach Sister's Kitchen in the house as well.
Oh, and Mr. Doug popped in.
Yes, Mr. Douglas Campbell from the foothills of the what is it called? Deerfoot Holler near Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes.
The bird is here. Jolene. What's up, Jolene?
Yeah.
And by the way, I did see Joe. You got another free membership.
Oh my God.
As did Molly June, South to West, Rocket Queen Colleen, and Cammie. So congratulations to you guys, and thank you to Brandon for gifting them.
Wow. Thank you, sir.
So Charlotte, Paul Anici's up in the house. Anthony Tripp. We got a freaking house full of scafoozes in here.
Yeah, we do. So on that note, let's get to it. And let's
talk. 25 minutes in.
Yeah.
Sorry for hijacking the beginning. It's just good news I wanted to share with everybody. You guys are my friends. And I like to tell you when good shit happens. It's not always bad shit, right?
Yes, and Mr. Dave Sparks and Shabird.
Uncle Dave.
As well.
Jolene. Beautiful Jolene. Jolene. It's a great song, by the way, by Dolly Parton and Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus. So what's up with this Gordon Arnold fella here? Why is he called the Invisible Man?
Why? I'll tell you why, Joe.
I mean, I know why. It was
because he's managed somehow to evade being captured on film or in photographs anywhere in all of the available photography and film that we have of Dealey Plaza that day, given his location, we just don't have the guy on film.
Right.
Except for one. Maybe. So I'm going to show everybody, and I'm sure Doug will be very familiar with this artwork, given it was on his logo for a very long time. Let me pop this up here. This is the infamous Badge Man photograph, that enhancement, if you will,
Right.
that was first brought about by, I think, Tink Thompson, the author of 6 Seconds in Dallas, and people like Jack White, Gary Mack kind of enhanced this image, if you will, to bring out the more finer details. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you look at this, obviously Badge Man is right in the middle. And it appears he's in the stance of a weapon firing with even a puff of smoke, right?
Yeah.
Either that or he just hit a really big fat joint. And then behind him, you see what appears to be to his right, or my right, his left, an image of maybe a railroad worker with a hard hat on. But to the left of those guys, you have what appears to be an image of someone in uniform holding a movie camera up to their face. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This would be the only image that we have, that I know of, that could possibly be Gordon Arnold in Dealey Plaza. Now, Joe, when you look at this photo in its uncut, raw state, the Mormon photo.
Yes.
Okay. Let me go back to the cover photo, because I'll show you kind of where this is in this photo real quick. So you can see right in the middle of the cover art, I inserted the colorized photo of Badge Man, kind of where they would be in the Mormon photo. So kind of at the corner of the wall, basically. So let's go back and look at the Mormon photo. Now, I wish I could blow this up even more, but you kind of start losing details. But you can play along at home, download this photo, blow it up, and see for yourself. Now, the perspective is off, of course, because if you're looking at the Badge Man photo, it kind of looks like Badge Man is out in front of both of these figures, right?
Mm-hmm.
In actuality, the person that is going to be closest to the camera is actually the Gordon Arnold figure. And he said, Joe, that he was standing, and he went and stood where he said he was standing. So we have this picture from the late 70s that Earl Goals took, and it has him standing right there at the top of the steps, okay, and kind of right there in the corner.
Right.
Now you can see behind him the parking lot. You can see behind him a pretty sweet, like 1975 Gremlin with a racing stripe down the side of it. And the beginning of the picket fence, right?
Yeah.
Now, I've also heard him say that he was more over to the left. Or I'm sorry, my left, his right, that he was on a dirt patch kind of up in front, over in front of the fence. Because as we'll see in a minute in this video where he talks about what he was doing. So basically, Gordon Arnold was in the Army, And I don't know if he was, I think he was stationed at some place around Texas, and he was on, leaving town. But on November 22nd, he decided to go to Dealey Plaza to see the presidential parade, and he had a movie camera with him. And he basically went up behind the grassy knoll because he wanted to get up to the overpass, and he wanted to film from there. So he goes behind the picket fence back in the parking lot, and he goes to climb over that steam pipe that's no longer there, but was back then. And he said as soon as he got his leg over that thing, somebody came over and was like, "Hey, no. You can't get up here. Sorry, you need to go back. Go back. So he's like, okay. So he goes back, and he either goes to this position where he said he was, or he goes just around the corner in front of the picket fence, which would put him on the other side of the steps here. Either way, from the perspective of the Mormon photograph, it's kind of hard to figure where the shooter would be, because you would think, okay, well, the shooter might be behind the picket fence, but I just don't understand the perspective, if you will. But somehow it's off. But yet they're all kind of proportionally alike, as in they're the same size. Where somebody further away might appear smaller, those that are closer would appear larger, type of thing. It's just weird, right?
It's weird. Yeah.
So when you're thinking about the picket fence and where the shooter maybe could have been, I believe this is also from the Mormon photograph. You'll see on the left, there's an arrow pointing down to a figure behind the picket fence. And again, this is another location where I've heard that Gordon Arnold says that he was. But up more near the corner of the fence. Because as we'll hear his story, he basically said the bullet, he heard the shot from behind him and it zinged past his right ear. And he immediately hit the dirt. Right? So with that being said, Joe, the first thing that we can understand from Gordon Arnold is he actually wrote his wife or his girlfriend at the time a letter. And what is the date of this letter, Joe?
It is November 29th or 30th. It's postmarked the 30th, 1963, which would be about a week after the assassination.
And what does this letter say, Joe? If you could read it, please.
Sure. Let me steal the screen from you.
Yes, sir.
As I could read along with you. And this is the description from the 6th floor website, museum website. One page. Oh, actually, first of all, let me go to this. This was the envelope, of course, 5%, 5 cents postage, postmarked on the 30th. You can see 29th written on the bottom right-hand corner to Miss Mary Seymour, right?
And she's in Dallas.
Yes, exactly. So
he's mailing this from Washington.
Yeah, so on his way to his deployment in Alaska, he stopped in Washington. Correct, Rob. This letter from Gordon Arnold to his wife, Mary Seymour, is on cream stationery with an image of the hotel building, the Vance Downtown Motor Hotel on Stewart and 7th Avenue in Seattle, Washington. Dearest Mary, I am in... Thank God I don't have to read this, Rob. Decipher this. I am in Seattle, Washington now, but I still have to go to Tacoma, Washington, to get to McChord Air Force Base. And McChord Air Force Base, shout out to John Lindback, I think is where they got, I think was has something to do with the DB Cooper case. Either they flew over it.
Shoots.
They got the parachutes there, or he flew over it, and he said, "Why don't you get them from McChord?" type of thing. Like he knew, like ask McChord for them.
I know he was given a couple military shoots and a couple of sports shoots.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I can't remember what he specifically asked for, but yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to shout out John Lindbergh for that. Saturday, I'm going to try to and get some movie picture of the World Fair. So this sentence is important because it actually shows that he has
a movie camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
If it doesn't cost too much, Doug gave me movie film. I could sure use it. I still haven't opened your package yet. The trip up was long, but it passed pretty good. You should have seen the mountains covered with snow, the foggy ground around bodies of water, and the sunset at 28,000 feet. Wish you could have been with me. Will write when I get to permanent assignment. I love you always, Gordon. And let's see if it says anything else interesting.
Love a good love story.
It's they had a good relationship, right?
Yeah. So you know she's in Dallas, so you know she knows what happened in Dallas, right?
Right.
But
big but here.
Thing that he does not mention being on the grassy knoll and what allegedly happened to him on the grassy knoll, which we'll get to, because it's kind of a traumatic event for him. One would think, and something that you may want to tell the woman you love, unless maybe you didn't want anybody to know that you were there. But we'll get there, I promise.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it for a long time of what we hear about from Gordon Arnold. Fast forward to August 29th, 1978.
1978.
And as we've been discussing, we know that is kind of when the ARB is just in its last 6 months. Joanides was a fresh 1 month in, or 2 months in.
You mean the HSCA, Joe, not the ARB.
Did I say the ARB? I'm sorry. Yes, the HSCA. So Joanides is 2 months fresh on the job at this point. And we get our next, let me find the tab here.
Well, apparently the big buzz with the HSCA and some of the hubbub going around Dallas at the time is that a lot of people were writing about and telling their stories of encountering a Secret Service agent or police or somebody identifying themselves as a Secret Service agent up behind the picket fence on the grassy knoll immediately after the shots. And somehow Earl Goals found out about a story that Gordon Arnold was telling that was very similar to some of the other ones that they were hearing at the time. And Goals thought that this should be investigated by the HSCA, hence why he wrote this article.
Right. Yeah, there was HSCA was getting a lot of publicity, and a lot of people were coming out with a lot of different stories. And the Dallas Morning News on August 27th, 1978 came out with this article. Oh, you have it up there? Or did I put it up there?
I have the hard copy.
All right, put the hard copy up. All right. Here, you want to read it? Because my pronunciation is horrible.
Yeah, I'll hit the high spots here.
Okay. I have it up on the screen.
Now, this was published in the Dallas Morning News, folks, by Earl Goals. And originally Gordon Arnold did not want his name out there. Period.
Right.
Goals had to convince him that the only way this story is going to get out there is if I say tell your name, because I guess it was against paper policy just to throw shit out there without a name attached.
Right. I think the editor are kind of convinced Golds to reveal who it was.
Yeah.
Even though he might have promised Gordon initially.
So the article starts off by saying several men posing as Secret Service agents were in Dealey Plaza shortly before and after JFK was assassinated. Shortly before the shooting, one of the apparent imposters discouraged a soldier from walking behind the wooden fence atop the grassy knoll from which the HSCA test fired a rifle and pistol. The soldier and at least 4 other people say they met men who either showed ID as Secret Service or said they were. All but one of the encounters were in the parking lot just west of the school book depository from where Lee Harvey Oswald allegedly shot the president on November 22nd. All but one of the counterfeit agents wore business suits. One man was in sports clothes and had, quote, dirty-looking hands or dirty fingernails, according to a Dallas policeman who confronted him up there. Mm-hmm. But none of the 28 Secret Service agents protecting the president were on foot at the scene shortly before or after the shooting. None in the presidential motorcade stayed at the scene of the shooting, and none entered the school book depository building at or immediately after the shooting, and none went running up to the grassy knoll. Secret Service procedure requires that each agent stay with the person being protected and not be diverted unless it is necessary to accomplish the protective assignment. So, Gordon Arnold, a former Dallas soldier, said that he was stopped by a man wearing a light-colored suit as he was walking behind the fence on top of the grassy knoll minutes before the assassination. Arnold, now an investigator for the Dallas Department of Consumer Affairs, was not called by the Warren Commission and has not been interviewed by the HSCA. Arnold said he was moving toward the railroad bridge over the triple underpass to take movie film of the motorcade when, quote, this guy just walked toward me and said that I shouldn't be up there, unquote. I challenged him and he showed me a badge and said he was with the Secret Service and that he didn't want anybody up there. Arnold then retreated to the front of the picket fence high up on the grassy knoll just to the west of the pergola on the north side of Elm Street.
And Rob, I want to make note that he does say, showed me a badge, and that he was with the Secret Service, because this will change a little bit.
Yes. And I'd rather watch the video and let him tell his story for the rest of this. But
okay.
Again, I think it's important that we see what he says now in 1978 versus the video, which is probably 15 years after he tells this story. Because detailers are important, folks, for sure. So, but what he says briefly here, he said he had just gotten out of basic training, and in my mind, live ammo was being fired. It was being fired over my head, and I hit the dirt. Arnold, then 22, said the first shots came from behind the fence, close enough for me to fall down on my face. He stayed there for the duration of the shooting. His prone position under the shade of a tree may have locked away his story for 15 years as the Warren Commission and later other assassination researchers scanned photographs and movie footage of Dealey Plaza for witnesses to the shooting. The first 2 shots that Arnold heard did not come from the depository building because, quote, you wouldn't hear a whiz go over the top of your head like that. No shit. And he says, I say a whiz, but you don't really hear a whiz of a bullet. You just hear like a shock wave. You feel it. You feel something, and then a report comes right behind it. It's just like the end of a muzzle blast. He said he heard 2 shots, and then there was a blend of shots. From a single bolt action, he had to have been firing darn good because I don't think anybody could fire that rapid a bolt action. The next thing I knew, someone was kicking my butt, literally,
Right.
and
Because he was in the prone position.
Yeah, telling him to get up. Arnold said it was a policeman. So now, obviously, this is the Dallas PD, right? We know they were up on the knoll after the shots. And I told him to go jump in the river. And this other guy, another policeman, comes up with a shotgun, and he was crying. And that thing was waving back and forth. And I said, "You can have everything I got. Just point that thing somewhere else, sir." And this sounds overly dramatic. Arnold took his film from the container and threw it at the policeman. It wasn't worth $3 and something to be shot. All I wanted them to do was take that blooming picture film and get out of here. Just let me go. That shotgun and the guy crying over there was enough to unnerve me for anything. 2 days later, Arnold was on a plane reporting for duty at Fort Wainwright in Alaska. He had not given police in Dealey Plaza his name and never told his story to authorities, because I heard that there were a lot of people making claims about pictures and stuff, and they were dying sort of peculiarly.
Can I stop you there?
Yes.
Yeah. Goltz is saying 2 days later he's on a plane to Alaska. When was that envelope dated to his sister? 29th, 30th?
Well, it was mailed on the 30th to his wife, not his sister.
Oh, his wife. I'm sorry.
It'd be kind of weird if he was, banging his sister.
Right. But just pointing out that he obviously wasn't in Alaska then, right? Goltz might have got that detail wrong.
Well, he was on the way. I think he's insinuating that 2 days after the shooting is when he left Dallas to go to Alaska.
Okay.
He was making several stops, such as from Tacoma or wherever in Washington that he wrote that from.
Yeah, it seems to me he might be trying to exaggerate it. 2 days later he was in Alaska, when 2 days later he was on his way to Alaska.
Yeah. So, we know there wasn't any Secret Service anywhere in Dealey Plaza before or after the shots were fired. That we know. I think that's been widely established through testimony and everything that we know about that. Mm-hmm. Now they try to bolster Gordon Arnold's observations with S.M. Holland, the supervisor, of the railroad yard back there. And Holland, in 1964, was asked by Samuel Stern, a Warren Commission assistant counsel, if he spoke to the three together. And he said there were two city policemen and one man in plain clothes. Holland said, "I didn't tell him the man not in uniform. I talked to the city policeman." Stern pressed further and asked if he knew what the third man's affiliation was. Holland said he didn't know, and Stern moved on to a different subject. Now, we know some of the Dallas cops were dressed in uniform, like Joe Smith, James Foster, but you also see people like Roger Craig up behind the grassy knoll in plain clothes. Right. He was with the sheriff's office, but he wasn't wearing his deputy uniform or nothing. And we know that because we've seen pictures of Roger Craig from that day, and he's in plain clothes.
Well, wasn't Joe Smith the one that Dallas cop that actually said someone showed him Secret Service credentials?
Yeah, he's one of them too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he was definitely there.
So that's corroborative a lot.
Or corroboration. Yes.
That's yes. My word probably wasn't a word.
And I believe the police officer that was, because there was an officer stationed up on the triple overpass, and I think that was Officer James White James C. White.
Yes, I believe you're right.
And yeah, that's who Stern was asking Holland about if he saw these three people together. But he said he only saw two of them together. And then he tells the story of Tom Tilson and Gene Hill. Again, Gene Hill allegedly ran into somebody with Secret Service identification. And all that jazz. Now,
yep, I have a couple of her statements a little later.
We've talked about the mystery Secret Service agent on the knoll, for sure, and happen to have a couple examples of said possible Secret Service agent on the knoll. This is, I believe, Joe, from the John Martin footage.
John Martin Jr., yes.
I'm not being facetious here. I think this is from his movie.
It might be. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, but I mean, you can see where the guy's walking in between at the end of the fence there. That would be where the steps go down to Elm Street. And this is kind of like the corner, the backside of the corner. And you see, I think that's Officer Joe Smith right there with his arm out, right? And he's talking to a chick. Well, this dude is walking in between them. And he's kind of mysteriously carrying a overcoat or something over his arm.
Right.
Now, one of the people who said that they encountered this Secret Service agent on the knoll was that he had a firearm underneath the jacket. They could see the barrel. Right. And also from the same film, a couple of frames later, right, we see the same figure with a very odd package, or it's actually from a different angle because you can see Officer Smith behind him, right?
Yeah.
So, and there appears to be something bulky under this jacket other than just the dude's arm. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And of course, why would you need an overcoat on top of your suit?
An overcoat and a hat. Yeah.
And also, Gordon Arnold in the article you read a couple minutes ago described someone in a light colored suit.
Right. And it's definitely light colored compared to the cop's dark colored uniform, right?
Definitely.
It's definitely not black or even, dark gray or navy blue or anything like that. It's definitely a light colored suit.
100%.
Now this picture to the right of this split screen here, I'm not sure what we're looking at, but according to this photo, it is another person that was suspicious up on the knoll that had a knapsack or a backpack on. That was kind of walking around and looking suspicious, but I don't know what that is. But anyway,
yeah, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, the secret. We do see whoever this guy was, and I don't know who he was.
Wish we did.
Yeah, I wish we did, because it might shed some light on some things. But back then, Joe, it was so easy to impersonate people because they just took for granted that you weren't lying. I mean, you could pull out a fake badge, be like, "Hey, back off, Secret Service, flip," and nobody would question you.
Right. Look the part, be the part.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
And remember a couple episodes ago, a dude was running his metal detector over the grassy knoll and found a bunch of those little American flag pins that the Secret Service would pin on their lapels. That would distinguish them as Secret Service agents to each other. So, there's some things about Gordon Arnold's story that seem legit, and there's some things that are just like, I don't know, bro. And I did pin a comment here from Tiny. It says, isn't that also approximately where the additional pool of blood was purported to have been?
Yes.
Yeah. At the top of the steps, like right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was that show we did? Something sticky in Dealey Plaza or something?
Yeah. And I'm trying to think of the name of that photographer who I talked with Alex Harris about, who took that picture.
I think his name was Cole. Something Cole. Jerry Cole.
Might have been. I'm not sure. For some reason, I'm thinking of a different name, or maybe I'm confused.
Jerry Cole.
Okay. But yeah, that is exactly where that is, Tiny, for sure. And
there was also reports of a Secret Service agent dying in Dealey Plaza in the early news reports.
Yeah, that is true too. Yeah.
So who knows what the hell is going on up there? But we're trying to focus on the Gordon Arnold story.
Yeah.
Story.
Frankie G, what's up, sir? He goes, I listened to Gordon Arnold's interview with the Sixth Floor Museum website. For what it's worth, his account was quite detailed, of course. That could just mean he's extremely creative. Fabulous. Yeah, look, we're gonna see him in a second.
He got real emotional in The Men Who Killed Kennedy when he saw that badge man image of him supposedly for the first time.
Yeah.
And he basically said, if he knew that he was captured or brought out of that picture, that he never would have agreed to do the interview for whatever reason. And he kind of broke down crying.
Yeah, it's convincing.
Because finally, all these years, nobody believed his story because he wasn't captured in any films or pictures. And then all of a sudden, here he is in living color for the first time. And it's not just this picture. There was a guy back in the 90s by the name of Thomas Wilson, who was a very early pioneer at computer enhancement with photographs. And he also managed to bring out an image of Gordon Arnold in the Mormon photograph. So, and if I'm thinking correctly, maybe there was one other one that showed him on the ground. I want to say there was, and I tried to find it, but I couldn't find it. Some of the shit is so buried, and it could take you hours just to try to find something you're looking for. But
it's so hard.
Like this, but
yeah.
I'm sure if you went over to the education forum and put in Gordon Arnold and Tom Wilson, that you could find this image. Just didn't have time to actually find it. But so there is some corroboration to Gordon Arnold's story.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep. We'll get to. I have Gene Hill's,
and he's also been accused of being the Black Dog Man in Willis Slide. The infamous Black Dog Man, because he's kind of in the right position. But again, that image is way too out of focus and no detail to even say that with any definity that's Gordon Arnold. So
yeah, you're gonna have to maybe explain this Black Dog Man, because I've heard of him, but I don't get it. But before that, Cat Daddy Steve has a good question. Why was he wearing a uniform unless he was stationed nearby and was just off duty or going on duty?
Well, he's wearing a uniform because he had just finished basic training.
Right, but he's on leave, is I think what he's saying. So
right, I don't think he went home yet, or I mean, I don't know if he had a home. I don't know.
Yeah,
or maybe he wanted to wear his uniform because
he was proud,
or the president's coming by.
Yeah, you're proud. You just graduated basic training. Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to, because that's a good point, and I was wondering the same thing myself.
Yeah, I was saying there's three possibilities. He wanted to show some pride in his country and wear his uniform, or he had just got done with basic training, or he's on his way out of town and that's how soldiers traveled back then. They wore their uniforms in public.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, 2 days later, I guess he was out of town, according to Coles. But we'll see. Yarborough, and I want to start these comments, Rob, because I want to talk about this later. Because Yarborough statements, which we will get into in this video clip we're going to play, corroborates Arnold's statements.
Yeah.
And yes, he is extremely credible. But I want to discuss, would Yarborough be even in the position in the motorcade to look to his right and see Arnold at the position that he alleged he was? Or was other people just hitting the ground? So I want to debate this. I don't know, but this is something I want to get into later, so don't.
Well, he was in the car with Johnson, right?
Yeah, because that was the whole argument with Yarborough versus Connolly, right?
And they're in the back seat, right? So you have Yarborough, Rufus Youngblood, and Johnson on the back seat.
But how many cars back from Kennedy?
I think they were in the car behind the Queen Mary. Because as they're turning the corner, they're in that white car.
So was that 2 cars behind JFK? 3?
Yeah, 2.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, so they were pretty close, and he would have, definitely noticed that. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know either. I just, it's a good discussion point that I saw being debated. So why don't we, those are all the start comments. I have that other article, the follow-up article, but why don't we do you want to get to the video?
Yeah, let's hear it right from the horse's mouth, Joe.
Yeah, let's do that.
We can skafooze all night about this, but let's hear from the man himself, because I think it's important when you're talking about what these witnesses saw that you hear it in their own voice.
Right.
That way you can have better judgment on whether or not to believe them.
Yes, their credibility. Yeah.
A lot of people think that they're pretty good judges of character. Can basically figure out if people are lying or not due to little tells, eye contact, movement, hand movement, blinking, whatever the case may be. So let's hear from the man himself. Now, this is approximately 8 minutes long, so I apologize in advance if it gets weak. I'll stop it because I haven't watched the entire thing yet.
No, it's all pretty good. I think it has Yarborough in it too. It's pretty.
Yeah, so it's worth an 8-minute watch. So
yeah,
we'll be back in 8 short minutes, folks.
Bathroom break. I'm just kidding.
Well, we'll be here auditorily in your ears.
Yes. Pause it if you want to discuss it.
Yeah. So here we go.
On that particular morning, what happened was I came downtown and I thought there was going to be a parade. So what I did was I parked my vehicle back here in this parking lot, and I intentionally walked to this particular corner because I wanted to take pictures of the parade off of the railroad bridge. Well, this is about as far as I got, because what happened is when I got my leg to about this position, a man came around the corner off the bridge, had a suit on, and he turned around and he told me that I wasn't going to be there. And I guess I was younger and more spunky at that time, because I told him, you and who else is going to keep me off the bridge? And he pulled out an identification card and he said, I'm with the CIA. And I said, well, that's enough muscle. I'll leave. So I turned around and brought my leg back over like this. And I walked down the fence line.
Now, first anomaly. Joe, what did he just say?
He said he was with the CIA.
Yeah. Now, in 1978, he said the guy said he was with
the Secret Service.
Well, I think that the guy he encountered when he was trying to go up there was a police officer.
He said badge and Secret Service. He said them both, I think.
What, in the original article?
Yeah. I'll double check, but
here it is. The man showed me a badge and said he was with the Secret Service and that he didn't want anybody up there. Yep,
okay.
you're right.
Okay, Secret Service badge.
So now it's the CIA, 15 years later. Just keep that in mind, folks.
Yes.
Details are everything.
Yes.
I'm here about halfway. And I was looking over the fence to see if I could get a good shot of the parade. And he come back up and he told me, he says, I told you to get out of this area. And I said, okay. So I walked the complete length of the fence, got around on the other side. That's when I started to line up my frame so that I could take the picture of the parade. I had been panning shots through here so that I could get whatever was going to come down the street. And I saw that it was the President of the United States. And as I was panning down this direction, just as I got to about this position, a shot come right past my left ear. And that meant it would have had to come from this direction. And that's when I fell down. And to me, it seemed like a second shot was at least fired over my head. There's a bunch of report going on in this.
Now, real quick, we saw I showed you the picture in 1978 where he said he was standing, which was at the corner of the retaining wall at the top of the steps.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 15 years later, he's around of the grassy knoll, on the knoll at the top of it. Because as he panned the camera shot, when he just said, I was lining up my camera and panning, you could see the corner of the retaining wall some 10 feet in front of him. So he's moved positions 15 years later. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. Here we go.
Yep.
In this particular area at that time. And what happened was that while I was laying on the ground, it seemed like a gentleman came from this particular direction. And I thought it was a police officer because he had a uniform of a police officer. But he didn't wear a hat. And he had dirty hands. But it didn't really matter much at that time because with him crying like he was and with him shaking when he had the weapon in his hand, I think I'd have gave him almost anything except the camera because that was my mother's. And literally what the man did was kick me and asked me if I was taking a picture. I told him that I was. And when I looked at the weapon, it was about that big around, and I decided I'd let him go ahead and have the film. I gave it to him, and then he went back off.
Now, what kind of weapon is that fucking big around, Joe?
I don't know. I was just thinking that.
Cannon? I mean, like, now in the Goals article, he said it was a shotgun. Well, we know JFK didn't get shot with a shotgun, right?
Right.
Now, folks, you have to remember what time period we're in here. Okay, we're late 80s, early 90s. We're in prime Roscoe White territory when that story was coming out. And he was being fingered as Badge Man. And as you remember from the picture of Badge Man, he's not wearing a hat. And in Roscoe White's memoirs, he said he was very upset about having to shoot the president. So these little details about, the guy was crying and this and that. It's very, very odd. Why would you even notice if a cop has dirty hands or not? I mean, the guy's laying on his stomach, dick in the dirt, face in the dirt, and the guy's kicking his ass, telling him to get up and hand me the film. But you notice he has dirty hands. Like, really?
Rob, do you know when the first reports, because I've heard this, of course, a ton of the policeman with no hat with dirty hands came out? Was it from Arnold, or did he pick up that from someone else?
It may be from the Roscoe White narrative. I don't know.
Okay.
And maybe from Gene Hill. Hell, I don't know. I think Gene Hill said something similar. And then, of course, years later, she said, it was Roscoe White up behind the fence. I knew him. I knew who he was. And I was just scared to say something earlier. But, I don't know, man. I don't know. But let's continue here.
Okay.
in this direction. I went off in this direction. And 3 days later, I was in Alaska. And I didn't come back to the United States for about 18 months.
We spent a lot of time studying the picture and looking at little details, and I guess in the back of our minds was a story that had come out 4 years earlier by a man named Gordon Arnold, who claimed to be a witness to the assassination and claimed to have been standing up by the fence. And there was a light blob of something very close to where Badgeman was. We weren't sure what it was, but gradually as details started coming out with Jack's photo work, we realized that this image was probably Gordon Arnold. And here's a guy who had told his story just to an acquaintance and was overheard, and that story went off to the news media, and Gordon Arnold was interviewed, and it appeared in the newspaper that he had been at the scene and was in that location, but no one believed him because there were no photographs or films that showed a man in that position. But all of a sudden, the Mormon picture confirmed his story. And again, the interesting part is that Gordon Arnold's story came out 4 years before we noticed the appearance of this figure in the Mormon photograph.
We later learned that Arnold was wearing this army cap that had a slight point at the top and a medallion on the right-hand side that said U.S. Army, and it's exactly what we see in the photograph. We also know that Gordon Arnold was filming this scene with a movie camera, and that's exactly what the photograph shows, because we see the right arm of the person in this position with his hand up toward his face and what appears to be obstructing his face, something perhaps like a movie camera.
The training that I had just finished, they were shooting live ammunition over us. And when a bullet goes past your ear and your eardrum feels like it's coming out the other side of your head, it's close. That's why I thought I was shot. There's no doubt in my mind that I was there. And it did occur.
During that shooting, my eye was attracted to the right. I saw a movement, and I saw a man just jump about 10 feet like at the old-time flying tackle in football and land against the wall. I thought to myself, there's an infantryman who's either been shot at in combat or he's been trained thoroughly. The minute you hear firing, get under cover.
Looks like a soldier in summer uniform with an overseas cap on. It looks like it would have been my uniform. And it looks like there's a camera. Or there's something up in front of the face. It looks like a white spot. If it's a flash, it would be like off of a muzzle flash. This looks like a police officer because that would be the badge. That would be the arm emblem. Would this fella back here be the railroad man I asked you about this morning? Because when I was walking to the site, and I had never told anybody that I had, when we were out there filming, it reminded me that there was a railroad worker just standing out there by the railroad tracks. But it looks like somebody's taking a picture. Yeah, I couldn't figure out why would I be standing crooked until I flipped that up, and if that's a muzzle blast or flash, then whoever's standing there would have been a fool to stand up straight. He'd been trying to get away from harm's way is what it boils down to. It looks like somebody's taking a picture. And that could very well be me. Son of a gun. That would be the closest thing that I've ever... To be honest with you, the picture bothers me because if this is a true thing of what has occurred, then I could be the only one that...
soccer man. They killed the president.
If he's faking it, he's
and to be honest with you, if I'd have known this, I wouldn't have given the interview. That hits too close to home right now.
If the figure is real, then that means the witnesses were correct, and the researchers who have spoken of conspiracy for 25 years now were also correct. It means the Warren Commission was wrong. There was a conspiracy. The question then is, who was involved in the conspiracy? And alongside with that is, was Lee Harvey Oswald involved in the conspiracy? One of the good things the Warren Commission did was literally itemize the last few days of Lee Harvey Oswald's life. And the problem for the Warren Commission now would become, well, he had no opportunity to be with other people to plan something like this. So we now have to wonder seriously, perhaps for the first time, whether Lee Harvey Oswald even fired any shots.
All right, let me figure out how to get this off the damn screen.
Bro, he's emotional. I mean, if he's acting, he should have been gone into Hollywood instead of the military, because that convinced me.
A little emotional there at the end, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, and if you did experience something like that, you would be emotional like that, right?
And by the way, I love conspiracy Gary Mack.
Yeah, right. Early conspiracy Gary Mack.
Yeah.
Yeah. I almost didn't even recognize him. And it sometimes surprises me how conspiracy leaning he was in, I guess, the late 80s or whenever this was. But yeah, it's a crazy video. And the Yarborough thing is definitely helps his case if he saw Arnold. Or did he see someone else kind of covering, dropping for cover?
And
I don't know.
People see things in these photos all the time. You saw how vague the badge man photo is without colorized enhancement to properly bring out the details to make it what it is. But Gary Mack made a good point by saying that Gordon Arnold's story came out before the badge man part of the Mormon photograph was enhanced. And I don't know what else you could say that figure is. I mean, with the pointy hat, the hand up to the face like he's filming something.
His hand is definitely up to his face, without a doubt. Whoever that person is, he was doing this.
Yeah.
That is without question in my opinion.
Now, the other details about running into Secret Service and cops and people taking his film, who knows if that's real or not? Because you think other people would say that they saw that, because that was not behind the picket fence. That was in front of the picket fence. So you would think people would say that they saw a police officer accosting an enlisted man at the top of the hill, right? And taking his film. I would think that that'd be an important detail that somebody in Dealey Plaza would have seen. I mean, there's 3 fucking guys on the steps, right, at the time of the shots, including Emmett Hudson, who was the caretaker, one of the caretakers for Dealey Plaza. I'm not sure who the other 2 guys are, but they didn't mention anything about this in their testimony about an enlisted man, at least that I'm aware of. Right. I think one of the people on the steps they never identified, but there was Emmett Hudson, and I think one other person was identified as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know. I don't know what to make of Gordon Arnold, man.
Bro, I'm right there with you. I have some comments starred, and then I have some pictures we can get into, and I might be able to blow them up a little more. Roger Thacker. Hey guys, watching from Grand Rapids, Michigan here. Love your show. Thank you, sir, and thank you for watching.
Watch out for the Michigan Crayfords up there.
Umbrella Man. He wore his uniform to meet his mother, who worked in the Dow Tex building. Interesting. I had not heard that before, but I know you've had some really insightful comments in the past, so I'm not going to doubt you there.
If anybody would know, he would. The Umbrella Man.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it wasn't far from the Umbrella Man, right?
Right.
Yarborough could have been referring to Bill Newman. He could have, and that's the whole point, is we don't really know. And I was trying to find
Newman wasn't dressed like an enlisted man.
No, and I think he would have. Yarborough would have said. He would have mentioned the kid, him covering the kid type of.
I just happen to have a picture of this, Joe.
Okay.
I captured a still from the Bronson film.
Ooh, okay.
Now, this picture shows a lot of interesting things, except for the part that is in question here, which would be a little more western of the grassy knoll.
Yes.
But what it does show us is a different perspective on the relative positions of everybody here. Okay, so the lady in the red coat, right, is obviously Jean Hill.
That's Jean Hill, yes.
To her left in the black coat is Mary Mormon.
Yes.
Directly across the street are the Newmans and their two children. Okay, Bill and Gail Newman, right? I'm not sure who the two people directly to their left is.
They look like women, right?
They look like women, yeah. Now, directly across from the women, you have Charles Brem and his son.
Right, and of course,
the babushka lady.
Baboosh.
Lurking behind them, still filming or taking pictures. Well, I guess not still, but this is before the president has passed by. So Mormon would not take her famous photograph until the president had passed by her position. She was pointing in the direction more of the girls are coming down the street. This would have likely been right around the time of the first shot. At this point, the third shot.
Yeah, right, close.
You can see the dark complected man with his blue shirt and black pants. That motherfucker's standing in the street. Like, he's not standing on the sidewalk or the grass. He's in the fucking street with his fist raised up. Right?
You could have just had a shotgun or even a pistol in your pocket and popped Kennedy.
Yeah, and you can see the Umbrella Man directly behind him at the edge of the sidewalk and the grass with his umbrella up.
Two people above the Umbrella Man look to
be high school kids.
Okay.
Because they had leather jackets on. They were skipping school that day or something like that.
Hey, I would have skipped school for that.
Yeah, they're kind of up more at the pergola.
Right.
Now you can see Marilyn Sitzman and Abraham Zapruder on the other pedestal over to the left more, right?
Oh, yeah, you can.
You can make them out.
Yeah.
And the rest of these people, I'm not 100% sure who they are.
Right.
They're just people that are making their way over to Elm Street right before the volley of shots just kicks off.
Right.
Like,
so
this is probably the time of the first shot.
So Arnold would have been to the left of Zapruder for the way we're looking at the picture on the screen.
Yeah, he would have been
or to the right.
Yeah.
Right of Zapruder to the left as we're looking at this picture.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So that's just for perspective, folks.
Nice. And you know what? I wanted to show you something else for perspective that I didn't even know you could do, but I figure this is a good time to do it here.
You can't do that on television, Joe.
What? Oh, sorry, I missed it.
It was a great Canadian TV show in the 80s.
So when you go to the 6th Floor Museum website, right, they have this whole, 35-page, or picture timeline of, you could see where Kennedy landed at Love Field, where his motorcade went, right here, down through Oak Lawn, Harwood District, and then comes along and then eventually goes through Dealey Plaza. Well, check this out. This is cool. Isn't this cool? Sorry.
Yeah, welcome to 3D modeling.
Yes.
So it kind of shows you where witnesses were, or people filming, or what are we looking at here?
Yeah, so we're looking at Orville, where Orville Nix was filming. Bronson, Hughes, obviously Zapruder here. You can see the pergola. And, of course, it doesn't have the fence because it's a sixth floor museum. But it doesn't have any good detail around here. But this would have been the general area of where Arnold said he was.
Yes.
And I just thought that was really cool to do 3D and look through everything going all the way through the parade route.
Well, I have a very much more rudimentary
sure
illustration of the Gordon Arnold position.
Yeah.
Not to scale. So A in the key would be Arnold and where he said he was standing, which is, as you can see, at the corner or back by the fence, but not in front of the fence. Kind of in between the portion of the fence that goes back into the parking lot and the concrete barrier right at the top of the steps. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the sidewalk once you get to the top of the steps. And then immediately to the right of the sidewalk, there's a corner of the deal. Now, B would have been Badge Man. So you always think of the shooter being behind the other side of the fence, right? But now they're saying that this is the position of Badge Man. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that the W is Roscoe White. So they're saying that Badge Man is not Roscoe White. It was a different cop. Now, this is the time in the early 90s when the Roscoe White story was coming out and the Gordon Arnold story was coming out. So, of course, they're so similar. They tried to bolster the two by marrying them together in the narrative. And the X is according to Roscoe White's narrative, where his accomplice or spotter or the person making him shoot would have been right next to him there along this portion of the wall. So again, this is from Dave Perry in 1991, and it is not to scale because he is not a good drawer. But
neither am I.
It's a very rudimentary perspective, if you will, because when you're talking about perspective in this case, is everything. And then I kind of blew this up a little more, this portion, so you try to get a better look. But yeah, I mean, it looks like a guy in uniform with a camera up to his face. But again, is this Paridelia? I don't know. Is this just leaves in a tree and branches and that they put color on in a human form? Who the fuck knows?
Who the fuck knows?
I don't know.
Yeah. Slacker Dan. I start his comment. I've never been totally convinced about this guy, to be honest. Yeah, as you could tell, neither are we. It's intriguing. But
there's a lot of fakers out there that you can see through immediately and realize they're full of shit. Okay, like Beverly Oliver, Judy Baker. even though they might seem sincere. Like Judy Baker seems sincere at times and gets very emotional about certain things, but it's an act. And this could be the same thing. I don't know. Or it could be sincere. I don't know. I'm not that big of a judge of his character. Now, I do know that the guy never wrote a book or tried to write a book. But I'll put the big but out there. If you go back and watch the movie JFK, he is in the movie. His character.
Mm-hmm.
And Oliver Stone did meet with him in Dallas because the guy lived in Dallas. And Oliver Stone put this figure in the movie.
He met with Oliver Stone.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Interesting. Wow. And Kay, what's up, buddy? And he brings up a good point. No CIA man would ever say that. Come on. And that would be identifying yourself as a CIA man. And I gotta agree with NK here. Right? You don't really say I'm CIA.
No, you would if you were CIA, you would have like local law enforcement credentials. Just be like, look,
right.
With police, you can't be back here.
Especially if you were up to something sus as CIA, you would not say that.
But Beverly Oliver said the same stupid thing when she said that the CIA guy came to take her film at the club, and he said, "I'm with the CIA. Give me your film." Mm-hmm. Nobody would say that.
Right. Paula said he could have just misspoke, like Joe saying RRB instead of HSCA.
It's quite possible.
It's quite possible. I do it every week.
And by the way, what's going on with this motherfucker Saints hat? Because I seen it in the video. All right. First of all,
New Orleans Saints?
It's the wrong color for the football team. Right? It's got to be New Orleans because it's got the logo and everything, right? But it's a red and white hat. I don't think the Saints were the Saints ever red and white.
I'm looking up.
And he has a fucking feather in his hat, Joe.
I see that.
One big yellow fucking feather right here. Like, what is that? Like, I thought it was a Boy Scout hat first when I first saw it. You know, because the Boy Scout logo is kind of the same, but it plainly says Saints and not Boy Scouts. Mm-hmm. That's why I was thinking he might have a feather in it too. You know, maybe he's like on the feather level or something, whatever. But
these are the Saints logos, I guess. I'm just Googling this, but yeah, it's this logo, right? But listen, there's a bunch of different. Jack Taylor maybe can help us here, but you know, there's always like different. Like even if like say like the Giants, the New York Giants are like blue and red, like they'll have like a yellow hat or some variation of that. It wouldn't be normal, but it's not. And it also could be
what they did back then, though. You know, like go too far off the color scheme.
That's true. It also could be a local high school team too. I mean, you never know. You know. Scott, if he was on the ground after the first shot, he wouldn't be in the photo during the headshot. And yeah, that's what I don't want to say the Gordon Arnold defenders say, but yeah, they say like, of course he isn't in the shot because he hit the ground, right? And
yeah, right after the first shot, he hit the dirt,
right. Which is why the Yarborough thing is so interesting to me. Is if you're 2 cars back from Kennedy at that point, and you showed a picture of where he was at, would you even be able to see him from there? Unless you're looking like really far up. You know, you're not looking just to your right. You're looking like 2 cars up and on the you know, on the knoll, on the hill. That's the thing that gets me. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you got to figure like that Bronson picture I showed you. where they hadn't got to Mary Mormon yet. So that I'd say Yarborough probably would have been right there at the time of the shots, because the president's limousine would have been already out of frame to the left, and Mormon would have turned that way to take her picture. So and the Secret Service car was pretty fucking close to the limo, like within a couple feet. So the third car back would probably have been where the limo was in that picture. So yeah, I would say he would have seen it.
Would you say Yarborough would have been like kind of like directly in front of the TSPD steps?
No, he would have been further down Elm Street.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm imagining it like he would have been back that far. And I don't know. I actually looked for some diagram of this. I couldn't find it. But that's what I was wondering in my head.
Yeah, no. Like if you watch the Zapruder film and you see how close, I mean, you were seeing where everybody's situated, right? And how close the follow-up car was. And then LBJ is right behind that in that car. So again, he would have probably been kind of right where Dark Complected Man and Umbrella Man were standing when the headshot hit. So if he saw something jump up on the knoll, he definitely would have seen it.
Yeah, if he was there, then yes. I just for some reason imagined him being a little further back in my head. Again, there's no science to this. You guys should read the transcript of the Sixth Floor Museum interview of Gordon Arnold's wife and children, and I did put that link in the description because the Double B asked for it. It's some messages up, but
and the Saints logo has never been red and white. They've always been black and gold.
Yeah.
I asked Grok, Joe.
Okay. You'd be amazed, Paula Jane says, at the number of people claiming to be witnesses. I lived in Dallas 39 years. They're everywhere. Yeah, and that's the problem, is you don't really know, like, who in their later life is trying to gain a little publicity or whether they were actually scared to come forward. And, dudes in the military.
Well, there's a difference between witnesses and people claiming fantastical shit. Okay. Like Jean Hills claimed some fantastical shit, but you know what? It's undisputed she was there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
right.
That's undisputed. Beverly Oliver claims fantastical shit. Doubt that Babushka lady was her. In fact, I'm 99.9% sure Babushka lady was not her.
Right.
And then, Gordon Arnold's not claiming he was just standing on the knoll taking a film and nobody did anything and he didn't really see or hear anything. He's claiming some fantastical shit.
Right. But I'm saying that's the problem, is that the people that come out and claim things, it makes it so difficult to ascertain the people that aren't, if they are or not. But I get it. Like, he isn't claiming.
Difference between people who said we were there and this is what we saw.
Yes.
Than actually involving themselves in the narratives of the stories.
Yes. But then there's the point where there was no documentation on Gordon Arnold with the DPD. There's no witness statement. The HSCA didn't even choose to interview him. Okay. After this Goals article came out. So take that for what it's worth.
Was he called to the mock trial? Did he do the mock trial with Bugliosi?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Like Tom Tilson did, which is another one of Goals' storylines.
Yeah.
But Gordon Arnold did as well.
Yeah, my point is that there is no, as we like to look at, early documentation, day of, weekend of, before the Warren Commission. Documents flying everywhere. This guy saw this. This guy's film was taken. We just discussed the Doyles, right? Doyle said his film was edited. We have Doyle's witness statements a couple days after the assassination. We have the corresponding documents of his film being taken, being returned. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's also corroborated by the other guy who had his film taken by the FBI and edited and returned to him. So the same thing happened to two different people that didn't talk to each
other. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a little different. So that's why Gordon Arnold's story is so I don't want to say controversial, but it's up in the air, at least to me right now. So I just want to get through a couple of things. Rob, his camera. This is on the 6th Floor website. Wolfsonac 73 lens turret. May as well be a gun. 8mm camera with original cardboard box owned by Gordon Arnold. According to Arnold, he had this camera in Dealey Plaza on November 22nd and filmed a portion of the Kennedy assassination while standing near the stockade fence on the grassy knoll. He reported he fell to the ground during the shooting, then was threatened by a man wearing a Dallas police officer uniform who confiscated the film. Just thought we'd like to see the camera. I guess it's like donated to the 6th floor. It must be there still, unless they took it back. But
I think it's just one like the one he had. I don't think it's his actual camera.
Oh, it seems like it might have been, because do you remember in the video he's like holding that camera?
I don't know if that one specifically.
You know what? I'm sure if we watched that 45-minute interview with his kids, we'd probably get the answer to that. But let's go to Miss Jean Hill, shall we? And her day of November 22nd, 1963, DPD voluntary statement, the Sheriff's Department, County of Dallas. Mary and I were wanting to take some pictures of the president, so we purposely tried to find a place that was open, where no people were around and had been standing halfway down toward the underpass on Elm Street on the south side. We were the only people in that area, kind of, and we were standing right at the curb. The president's car came around the corner, and it was just over on our side on the street. Just as Mary Mormon started to take a picture, we were looking at the president and Jackie in the back seat, and they looking at a little dog between them. The fuck? Just as the president looked up towards us, 2 shots rang out, and I saw a president grab his chest and fall across Jackie's lap, and she fell across his back and said, "My God, he has been shot," which we have heard before, so she was close enough to hear that. There was an instant pause between the first 2 shots, and the motorcade seemingly halted for an instant, and 3 or 4 more shots rang out, and the motorcade sped away. Interesting. I didn't know she heard 6 or more shots. I thought I saw some men in plain clothes shooting back, but everything was such a blur, and Mary was pulling on my leg saying, "Get down, Theory are shooting. They are shooting." Sorry, that's a typo. It's not me. I looked across the street and up the hill and saw a man running towards the monument and started running over there. By the time I got up to the railroad tracks, there were some policemen that I suppose were in the motorcade or near by had also arrived and was turning us back as I came back down the hill. Mr. Featherstone of the Times Herald had gotten to Mary and asked her for her pictures she had taken of the president, and he brought us to the press room down at the sheriff's office and asked to stay. Sorry, the grammar is not the best. It's not me. Forward a few months later, this is March 1764. This is an FBI document, key person report in the Warren Commission. Mrs. Jean Lawless Hill advised she and a friend, Mary Mormon, were in the vicinity of Main and Houston Streets on November 22nd, 1953, for approximately 1.5 hours before the arrival of President JFK and his party. While waiting for the motorcade to arrive at this location, Mrs. Hill and Marianne walked around the parkway to determine the best vantage spot for taking photographs. Mrs. Hill said she recalls talking to an ununiformed policeman of the Dallas Police Department on the sidewalk near the main entrance to the TSBD. While conversing with this policeman, Mrs. Hill noticed an automobile circling the area. The windows of the vehicle were covered with cardboard, and the name Honest Joe's Pawn Shop was painted on the side of the car. Miss Hill made a remark about the automobile, and the policeman told her the driver had permission to drive in the area.
Yeah, Honest Joe's Pawn Shop was a legit pawn shop in Dallas. It was like some giant gaudy ass station wagon with a giant, I don't know if it was real or fake, a big machine gun turret mounted to the top of it.
Wait, a machine gun turret?
Yeah.
Like a billboard?
No, like
an actual turret?
Yeah.
And that was being allowed to circle the area?
Yeah.
Stop it.
Joe, he was Honest Joe.
I know. All Joes are honest, but that is a great...
I don't think it was real or could be shot.
Right. But
cut off a tank and welded to the top of this fucking thing or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but if you're the Secret Service and you don't know Honest Joe's Pawn Shop in Dallas, would you let that... Would you say, oh, that guy's fine, unless, I guess she's saying the policeman knew it. I don't know. I thought that was really funny. But her story changes a little bit too. And let me just do a couple more pictures here, Rob. And we had already shown this, but this is, I blew it up a little bit, so it's not as good as the picture you showed. But this is Gordon Arnold and where he said he was. This is also the Mormon photograph, and I can blow this up, Rob.
You can.
I can. Man, I don't know how they get Badge Man out of this.
I told you, I don't know if we're looking at Paridelia and, you know.
I know. I do they get it from here? Do they get it from here? I really don't know. I've always been skeptical of it.
It's the corner right here of the concrete wall, not the wooden, not the fence.
All right.
So blow that picture, like right there above the corner, almost would be the Badge Man and the puff of smoke.
Okay.
Like right above the corner. Yeah, right in there. That'd be Badge Man. Then you would have the Gordon Arnold figure to that left, somewhere around there.
Right, which is where he said he was kind of standing. Right.
I don't know where they get the fucking railroad guy with the hard hat, but
I mean, I don't know where they get any of those three, to be honest. But I am not a photographic expert, so I will defer. But this is God, I had all these written down somewhere. So this is right after the aftermath, right? You can see the
Newman, yeah.
Right, Newman's on the ground, and it would have been somewhere here, right?
Well, it would have been on the other side of that.
Right. So, yeah, and especially if he was still in the prone position, you would not see him.
Yeah, whereas Zapruder was standing is all the way on the right on that pedestal.
Yeah.
That's where Zapruder would have been.
He had gotten down at that point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now go back to the picture you had put up right before this one. Maybe another one. No, this is right. No. Is that the right? Yeah. No. Go forward. The Mormon photograph.
Yeah.
All right. Now, in the very rudimentary sketch that I showed you, Joe. You see where the corner of the grassy knoll wooden fence is?
Here.
Yeah. And you see how it goes back to the parking lot? All right. Now you see where these three Scafuzas are standing on the steps?
Yeah.
All right. So Gordon Arnold would have been up here just in front of the wooden fence line as it goes back into the parking lot. So he wouldn't have been like on the grassy knoll side. He would have been
like here.
No, the corner of the fence line. Find the corner of the fence. There you go. Now go to your right a little bit. Yeah, he would have been right in there somewhere to the left of the steps.
Yeah.
Now I believe more that it looks like there's somebody laying on the ground.
You mean here, right here?
No, over to your right more on the other side of the fence. The part of the fence is going back to the parking lot. Now move your cursor to the left more. Right there. Blow that up. Now, do you see the guy or what could be a figure crouching in front of the fence? Or I don't know. I believe that more than the badge man photo. There's definitely an anomaly there in front of the fence line. Can't really make out what it is.
There seems like there's something right here.
Yeah, like that, maybe a head or something.
That's what I was going to say. A head. It looks like something like a head.
I mean, it looks like a fucking pig, but it also looks like somebody in the fetal position, like on their knees. I can believe that might be Gordon Arnold more than I believe that he's up there in the fucking badge man photo.
Right. All right. Okay. Yeah, no, it's it's hard with this photography back then. Let's go to this. This is either Wiegman or
blow that section up.
Okay,
but we were just looking.
Of course, just to context, right? This is about the same time as the previous photo we've been talking about, right? With them taking pictures of the Newmans.
They're still on the ground. Zapruder's off his pedestal. The three guys on the steps are starting to run up the fucking steps.
Wait, where? I don't see three guys running up the steps.
They're in the shadow there. Right beside the tree.
Oh, right here? Oh, yeah. See, like even them, like it's extremely hard to tell.
Officer running across the street, back up a little bit. The officer with his back to us, yeah, that's Joe Smith. He's headed that way. The motorcade cops, I see there's one abandoned motorcycle. I don't know where that cop is.
He had to have run up the knoll, or unless it's this guy.
It might be that guy. I don't know. He didn't have a white helmet on.
It's probably that. Oh, that. He does. He does.
Okay, so he just got off his bike. So there's no cops up there yet.
Right.
So this is just after the shot. So zoom in on that part of the fence up there, Joe, and see if we can see anything on the ground up there.
Yeah, bro. Those three Scafuzas have
Scafuzas, but let's see if we can see Gordon Arnold on the ground in that same area. See, there's some kind of anomaly close to the ground, right in front of that portion of the fence. Like it could be somebody laying on the fucking ground. I don't know.
Yeah, and of course he said he was standing right here in his recreation picture. So
yeah, but then he changed it to being right here, to the right of the corner of the fence line on the left side of the steps.
Yeah, I wish we had better.
But you can see there's some kind of anomaly on the ground. I don't know if it's just shadows and sunlight or...
There is, yeah, there is.
There's something there. I don't know. I would like to go back and revisit the testimony of Emmett Hudson and whoever else was on these stairs and see if they said anything about an army guy on the fucking ground. But
right. Because you think that would be noticeable enough to.
And again, after the shots, you have Arnold saying, "Hey, they came around. The guy was crying, waving a shotgun in my face. So I gave him my film." But there's none of that. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like maybe Arnold was there and maybe he did pussy out and hear real gunfire and hit the dirt, but maybe none of the other shit really happened. Like they didn't really take his film. You know, he didn't really run into a Secret Service agent. I mean, his story came out after the other four, right? Like he wasn't the first one to say he ran into a Secret Service agent back there.
Mm-hmm.
He was like the fifth one. So maybe he just incorporated that into his story to make it a little more believable.
I think that is very likely, sir. I think, like a lot of these things, there's some truth to it, and there's a lot of exaggeration. For whatever purposes, right? For newspaper article purposes, or this or that, or personal. I don't know, but I do think he was there.
Like there's
although
truth in the lie, you know, like
yes, exactly. This is the other one, and this is interesting because you have Umbrella and Dark Complected Man here.
that's way after the shots.
Yeah, this is way after the shots.
But the Newmans are still on the fucking ground. And everybody else is scattered except for Umbrella Man and Dark Complected Man. And the vultures have descended with their film cameras to, film the Newmans.
Yeah.
Who I believe stayed on the ground way longer than they probably needed to. But, makes for a better picture if they're still laying on the ground protecting their children,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's Pulitzer Prize shit.
Yeah.
Like
did they get a Pulitzer for that or no?
No, I don't know.
But they were probably thinking about that. I'm just going through some comments here.
Here's one. Officer Joe Smith is looking straight at that spot as he's running across the street. Yep. I agree. That's why he ran that way. He ran that way for a reason. Either he saw something or he felt like the shots were coming from that direction. Because Jean Hill mentioned in her first affidavit there that she saw somebody running from behind the fence behind the monument.
Right. And that was towards the Texas, towards the depository, right?
Yeah, and there's that one weird picture. It's like a black and white picture. Or maybe it's from a film where there's like this weird looking character you can see walking behind the monument. It looks like they have a hat on, an overcoat, and like they're carrying something like a briefcase or something.
Yeah.
Very weird.
There's so much weird stuff going on here, man. It's crazy, but it's. I wrote down my little summary of my thoughts here. I'm always very skeptical, almost extremely skeptical, when people say, they stole my film. It was taken. Diary disappeared. My documents on Jack Ruby that I was about to break the case open, talking about Dorothy Q. Gallen, was stolen and I was suicided. You know what I mean? And the men who killed Kennedy was what got me into the JFK assassination, because I was 6 at the time of the JFK movie. So when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, like, this is crazy. But as time has gone on, I get more skeptical, and I feel like 9 out of 10 of they were stolen, they're missing, they broke into my safe, or they came right after I died, the person died, and stole everything. I feel like 9 out of 10 are fake, or just all bullshit. But there is that 1 out of 10.
Yeah, Bob Jackson got the Pulitzer Prize for the Ruby shooting of Oswald pick.
Yes, for sure. And You know what? And just to bring it back to the Doyle film, which we did recently, there's documentation. I would have felt a lot better if Gordon Arnold got the name of the person he threw his film to, or made an inquiry at the DPD later that day, or the day after, or the day before he left for Alaska, right? Or mentioned it in his initial letter to his wife. Uh, and that would, for me, put a lot more weight on his story. But on the other hand, I look at this video that we just showed, and he completely convinces me. Like, he sold me. So, I mean, do you go with emotion? Do you go with logic? I don't know. As always, I feel like when we debate these things, we get more confused than when we started.
Yeah.
But for me, I would have felt a lot better if there was some documentation or reference before 1978.
Yeah.
And more evidence than the badge man photo. And as we saw in these other photos, there is none. And we went across plausible reasons of why there wouldn't be, right? If he was standing behind there and he hit the ground, for example. But for me, it's hard to give a lot of weight to it, even though I believe there was a shot from the grassy knoll, at least one shot, and I want to believe his story. I want to. But there's some parts that just, like, for me, make it a little hard to put a lot of weight on, if that's the right way of putting it.
I mean, this whole thing is one of those conspiracy tales that the lone nutters can tear apart in a heartbeat, right? And they did when this came out. You know, he was ridiculed, called a liar, all kinds of stuff, and he kind of dropped off. I think he died in like 98, didn't he?
97, I think, yeah.
97.
And I think his kids spoke to the sixth floor in 2005. I put that link in the comments before.
Yeah, but again, they only know what he told them. So
right. They're very limited value of that. Right.
You know, but like I said, this story is easy to tear apart for a lone nutter. And like you said, I'd feel a lot better. I mean, given the circumstances, the story just doesn't make sense. Because he specifically said it was a Dallas cop or two Dallas cops that took his film, right? Now, if this motherfucker's really there in Dealey Plaza, dressed up in his army uniform, you think two Dallas cops are going to bully an army man into handing his film over?
That's a good point.
And not just taking him down to the station and talking to him first.
That's a good point.
And again, I fought the Dallas police for a lot of shit. But they did keep a good document record on just about everything that they were involved in. I mean, there are some things that maybe we can't find that should be there, but for the most part, there's a lot of very eyebrow-raising documents that are there in the Dallas Police Archives that probably shouldn't be. You know, like the Martin document that we found about the secret line being installed into his house.
Right.
And eventually things come out. You know, like the third pose of the backyard photograph and things that they never kind of turned over. But you know, the FBI was pretty adamant and yanking all evidence away from the Dallas police very early. So if somebody would have confiscated this film And I mean, you have to understand when you correlate Gordon Arnold's story with Abraham Zapruder's story, who's doing the exact same fucking thing he is, 20 feet away from him, supposedly, which is filming the motorcade. Why didn't they treat Abraham Zapruder like this? Why didn't they just knock him down and take his film? Instead, this motherfucker gets talked to. He gets taken down to the newsroom. Cops didn't even take him right away. You know, they went and talked to him. They took him over to get his film developed and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, he made a media deal with Life magazine and he made a lot of money off this thing. And then you have poor Gordon Arnold over here with his dick in the dirt, getting his film taken from him. Yeah. The two stories just don't correlate for me. Because I don't think Gordon Arnold's film would have been any more valuable than Zapruder's. In fact, Zapruder was from such a high angle that he wouldn't have been obscured by people in front of him, and it had a much clearer view of what happened. And again, I could understand if these films had sound, but they had no sound. You know, if Gordon Arnold's film had sound and there was a loud fucking gunshot or loud gunshots, like right there beside the camera, that might be a reason, you know, to take his film, but that's not the case either.
No, I thought you made a great point. It's like you're not gonna bully Abraham Zapruder, some old business guy, but you're gonna bully some guy in an army uniform,
right?
That doesn't add up to me.
And there was a lot of people that had film and cameras and movie cameras in Dealey Plaza that did not get their film immediately confiscated by the Dallas police or the FBI, for that matter. Now, they did ask for it later and most willingly gave it up, you know, because of the gravity of the situation and the good of the country type bullshit, whatever. You know, but like Orville Nix, for instance, Charles Bronson.
And there's also the point that, hey, if you're Gordon Arnold at this point, right, by the time, let's just say he leaves 2 days after, right, after the 22nd, he already knows they're saying Lee Harvey Oswald did it from the TSPD. Right. If you're a patriotic American, a military man, and you heard gunshots flying over your head, I understand your scared argument, but witnesses weren't dying yet then.
No.
You know what I mean? So you just stay quiet, and I get it. He's young, just had a basic training. You make those arguments, but there's a lot of things that don't add up, because you would want to come forward and say this and be like, yo, these people took my shit.
You have to. He just got out of basic training. He's gung ho. He's patriotic. If this is what you saw, why wouldn't you say something? The president of the United States, your supreme leader, commander in chief, was just murdered 30 feet in front of you, and you filmed it. And not to say anything, you're the biggest pussy in the fucking world at this point. Like, that doesn't make sense either.
Right.
Like,
because the official story wasn't out. The official story wasn't out there yet. It was like consistently changing. So he wouldn't know that his account of events would have completely gone against everything. You know what I mean? This is not, after the Warren Commission came out.
And he had 2 days to do it. Like, he didn't leave Dallas for 2 days. Allegedly.
Right.
And why wouldn't you tell the woman you love what happened to you? I mean, that's like a big deal. Like, Like, that's some psyche fracturing shit right there. You know, that's some life changing, altering shit. You can't go back to her and pretend to be the same person you were after witnessing such a traumatic event like that and have that happen to you.
Right.
The way he says it happened.
Right. And even if he said something like, man, what I saw in Dealey Plaza is still really bothering me a week after, you know? Even if it had nothing to do with the video or film.
Right.
You know, it's, oh, I miss you, this and that. It's problematic, man, especially when you consider the timing of when it came out.
Yeah, I think either A, he's making it all up just because of whatever reason. You know, people are mental sometimes, and they want to insert themselves into history and be part of things that they really aren't a part of.
Right.
Or
you never can know what's going on in someone's head. Right.
Or, you know, there's some truth in this lie that he was there, that he hit the dirt, he was filming,
or he was too scared to film because he hit the dirt.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he might have had his camera, but maybe he stopped filming at a certain point or hadn't started filming yet.
Or it wasn't working and he couldn't get to work. Like, what?
Yeah, and he heard a gunshot and hit the dirt and didn't come up until after everything was done. And then he was like, "I'm gonna get the hell out of here," you know, type of thing.
Yeah.
I think one of those two possibilities are more likely than the third one, which is he's telling the entire truth about everything. So that's my take on it, Joe.
Yeah, I think we are.
Thanks, Jerry.
I think we are. We are in agreement on it. Intriguing. I think there's some truth to it, but I think it is not as we understand it, for sure. And thank you, Double B. Great points, everyone. I love the chat. And yeah, that's why we do that. We go back and forth and we try to figure out what the hell happened. Because you could go to any aspect of this assassination story and find conflicting evidence like this.
Yep.
Literally. Pick a point where there's not. Like,
that's why we do this.
Yes. Joe was in diapers the last time Mets won a World Series. Yes, I was 0 years old. I was born.
He was doing his daddy balls act.
No, I was born.
Oh, you were?
August. Yeah, I was like 2 months. Yeah.
2 months old. Little baby
yeah.
Joe.
Little baby Joe. The only calm people were dark complected, Umbrella, and Babushka. Yeah. And we had a really good segment episode on Babushka a few months ago. And that was really fun as well. And then last, David Arbuckle. This is an excellent video. He's referring to what we played earlier. I've always thought Arnold was a good witness. The truth is all of them are good and likely are being truthful. Some are better than others, but they seem truthful. Yeah, and he sold me. He did. But when I look at all the facts that we like to line up with documentation, it's hard to give it a lot of weight.
And look, people like Beverly's not very good at it. But people like Judy, who are mentally ill enough to believe their own bullshit, are very good at seeming truthful. When I can tell you right now, that woman is a Looney Tune full of shit. Right? But at times she can seem emotional. She can tell a good story. And to somebody who doesn't really know how much of a liar she really is, can be easily convinced that she's telling the truth. This just, some people have this weird mental thing. Like, it's like a mask some people can put on and be like a chameleon and insert themselves into things that maybe they were there, maybe they weren't. We don't really know.
Right.
maybe they were there and they want to make their presence there mean more than it did.
Yeah.
And insert themselves into the story for attention or fame. I mean, I'm not saying this guy was seeking fame and fortune because he didn't get it.
All right.
But he did get notorious. We're still talking about him years later.
I was about to say, yeah, that was his goal. It worked.
He got written about in newspapers. He got interviewed for major documentaries. He told his story to news outlets, and here we are, still trying to figure out if what he said is true. Because if what he says is true, then his story bolsters the fact that somebody was up there pretending to be a Secret Service agent, and we know there weren't any. And that there was probably some skafoozery going on behind the grassy knoll fence because they kicked him out of that area. And he said he distinctly heard a shot whiz by his head, which pretty much solidifies that there was at least one shot from the grassy knoll, if not two. So if his story is true, it's a game changer. But if it's not, then it's just not. It's just another story added to the list of, you can't have everybody behind the grassy knoll and Roscoe White and his handler. You can't have Lauren Hall back there and his spotter. You can't have James Files back there and his Skafuza. There's just too many people that say that they were there, or maybe you could put back there with some kind of evidence, documents, hearsay, testimony, whatever.
Or just jumping on the Bowers, Ed Hoffman kind of bandwagon type of thing, who I believe are much more credible than Arnold because there's documentation of it. Hoffman went to the police station that day, right? And no one knows if they know what he said there, but he was there.
Yeah, they were like, "What the fuck's this guy talking about? Get him out of here."
But that's what I'm saying. Like without documentation, it's hard to take it as us as document researchers and nerds. It's hard for us to give it more weight than to make it a game changer, right? I'm not saying it has no weight. I'm saying it can't be a game changer.
Right. Yeah, it can't be a game changer. All right, Joe, on that note, grab the damn dog. Or do you guys want to get into
No, I said before the show, I don't think we need to talk 2 hours about Gordon Arnold. And here we are, 217, 8 pushing 218 in, and this was fun, buddy. I had a good conversation. Ruby, come here. She's getting smart.
Ruby!
She's smartening up. She knows I'm going to make her dance. She's not coming anymore. Give me a second and get us out.
Folks, there's another one in the books. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thank you for the super chats and the gift memberships. Double B, much appreciated. Thanks for the hot sauce, brother. Will be in my mouth shortly, I tell you. There's Ruby. She's like, man, fuck this shit, man. Make me dance and wave.
It could be used for him or against him in this strange case.
No, I thought that was a good show. So thank you, Joe. Hopefully you folks enjoyed it. Thanks for hanging out with us. We had a shit ton of people in here tonight. So
yeah, we did. Over 70.
Coming out and participating in the comments. Thought the chat was on fire tonight. And you guys made a lot of good points and added to the show. And we like it when that happens.
Thank you.
Yes. So thank you guys so much. And be looking out for the book review and the Wednesday show next week. We love you guys, and we will see you next time.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace. Go on, kitty.
No. I hear.
I know. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Ruby says hi, Kitty.
Going with your hairy self.